Hey guys, I'm Chef T-Max. Welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're going to make a really cool soup, very Mediterranean, almost like Greek style. It's a chicken soup, but I'm going to put orzo in there, dill and lemon. Really great flavors, awesome for the spring or summertime. And I'm going to show you how easy this is. So if you're getting towards the time of year and for whatever reason you got a cold or you just want something hearty to eat, this is the go-to. So stay with me, super simple. I can't wait to show it to you. Click subscribe if you're not doing that. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. And click that bell and I will send you all the new stuff I have coming up. So see you back in a second. Hey guys, back in the kitchen here. Let's get this soup started. So one of the things that we need to do that is we're going to take a whole chicken. The beauty of this particular type of chicken soup, a lot of chicken soups, you end up taking the bones of the chicken, you make this this long stock, which is how we're going to do this too, but we don't really separate it till later. So we're going to take a pot. I got a big pot of water right here. You can see that. And then I'm going to take my chicken. Now here's the chicken neck from the center of the chicken. I'm not going to use the liver or any of the innards that sometimes they leave in that. Then the beauty of this is you just need to clean the chicken out and rinse it with water, which is what I've done. I'm going to drain the water off a little bit. And then I'm going to drop it in the pot. How simple is that, right? So easy. I'm going to move this out of here because there's a little bit of chicken water on there. And even though it's rinsed with water, that chicken water, you don't want to leave it sitting around like on your cutting board where you get raw chicken on stuff. So we'll rinse all this off, okay? But I basically submerged that in water, as you can see here. Now from there, I've got some of my other ingredients. I've got bay leaf. So we got beautiful bay leaves here, okay? I'm just going to put 1, 2, 3, 4 bay leaves in there. Then I've got peppercorns. I've got a mix of peppercorns. If you just have black peppercorns, that's fine. So you want to just put your whole peppercorns in there, okay? And then I've got garlic, which the garlic, I really don't want to do a lot to. I'm not even peeling it. I'm just, you can see how this, I'm just smashing it. And the smashing it like that just a little bit is going to break out the flavor. So you can see how they just leave the skin in there, everything, because this is all going to get strained later. Now, I've got some parsley, which I use for other stuff around the house, and I've got parsley. I always keep the stems, so I just have this parsley stems in there. You see how that just goes right in? Okay, I've got the celery here. I've got a celery heart. Now this is the root end here. I'll probably just trim the root off, but it's not really imperative that I do that. I'm just going to leave these pieces whole, and actually, the more they're together, the easier later they are going to be to pull out. So we don't dice those, anything. I just wash them. Same with my carrots. I just wash them. I don't even peel them. And I'm going to stick those right in this. Okay? So 3 carrots, a nice celery heart, 4 garlic pieces, tablespoon of peppercorns, and 4 bay leaves, right? And then I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of salt. Because when we reduce this, we can add salt then. By putting 2 tablespoons in here, it gets us started. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this on the stove. Okay, I need to bring this to a boil. That's going to take about 10 minutes alone just to bring it to a boil. Once it comes to a boil, we're going to turn it down to a simmer for about an hour exactly. So you basically put it on the stove, you turn it on, you wait till it gets to a simmer. When you start to see it simmer, you're turning it down from a high heat to a low heat to this simmering bubble heat. Once that happens, we're going to go ahead and let it go for an hour. After it goes for an hour, then we're going to take the chicken out, and we'll be back and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, with this chicken now, I just pulled it out, and I want to show you what's the next step in this preparation. So here I've got my broth. My broth is at a very light simmer now. I turned it lower just because I'm going to go ahead and let this chicken cool for a second until I can handle it. But I pulled the chicken out after 1 hour. So we basically simmered the chicken in this broth for 1 hour. I'm going to leave any kind of little bits or pieces. Doesn't matter. We're going to actually pull this apart anyway. So what I want to do is I want to take the chicken legs. You can see how they beautifully fall apart like this because they're cooked completely. Anything that falls off, like bones like this, they just go right in there like that, okay? So what we want to do at this part is we pull the chicken apart. Now the skin, I'm not using the skin in any of this, we don't want to use the skin at the end. It's all soggy and soft, right? So you're just going to get rid of it and put it in here. So let me do this. Put excess water that's in this chicken in there, okay? And then what I'm going to do is, you see how I take the fork and I'm just going to kind of just pull out the chicken breast here, pull it off. Now here's more skin here. Let me do it. Let me set it on the table so you can see it. Whoop, still hot. See it steaming? So I want to pull off this chicken breast here like this, this chicken breast fat and skin, and I'm going to put it in there because that's going to give flavor to the soup. Any pieces, chicken wings, I don't actually pick through the chicken wings. Sometimes take a little snack. That's always fun, right? But I'll just put the chicken wings and bones back in there, okay? And then what I'm going to do is pull this meat right off the breast. You see how I do that? Pull it right off. I'm going to let that sit to the side here. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to stick this in here just whole. Okay, you can see the meat's cooked completely through. That's 1 hour of perfect simmering on like a 3 to 4 pound chicken, which is your chicken size that you're going to get in the grocery store. If it's a bigger bird, that you bought this organic bird somewhere at a special market, it might take another 20 minutes or 15 minutes, but it'd have to be like an 8 pound bird for that to happen. But mostly chickens are sold small because they're more tender. So with this, I take this and then the rest of this meat, I always pull up the back here and there's these 2 little nuggets here, and these are called the oyster of the chicken. See that right there? And it's just like a perfect little smooth groove in there, and it makes these little chicken pieces that are so tender, and that's your treat for doing all of this hard work, right? And we're going to put that in there. Now, with the skin on this leg too, same thing. Pull it off, throw it in there. Okay? Any bits of onion, or like any herbs or anything that falls off of that, boom, just pull it. So with this, I'm just going to like pull it off the bone with a fork like this. You don't even need a knife actually, okay? Because it's falling off the bone anyway. So by taking a little fork, and later we're going to cut this anyway, so we don't need to keep it in big pieces. We're going to cut this up when it gets cold enough and put it in our soup. And when we put it in a soup, people are eating it with a fork, so you don't want it to be these huge pieces. So I just take the outside of the chicken leg here. I'm not going to take all these inner joint pieces like that too. Sometimes there's small pieces, there's tendon on there. So on this, again, just pull the big pieces of meat like this off the chicken leg, right? There's like a little bone in there too, like not in the meat there, but in the center part here. So that's why I don't go too deep. You see that little bone right here? Yeah, it's right there. So part of the leg bone. You don't need to pick every nugget of meat off. If you want to, you can. That's fine. I get most of it, but that's still very cleaned. And I put it in there. And then all of this meat, we're just going to let this cool. So you can put it you can wrap it, put it in the refrigerator, just let it cool at room temperature for half an hour or so, then wrap it and put it in the refrigerator. And we're going to, I'll show you how to dice this up later to finish the soup. So the bones go back in the soup. Now I'm going to simmer this a little bit harder. Not boiling. You do not want it rapid boiling. You want it just gentle simmering, bubbles, nice quick bubbles, right? If it gets too low too fast on this, like I'll add water. I'll start adding like a quart of water to it. And I want to cook this thing for about 8 to 10 hours. So I'm going to cook the rest of the day. So here we are. It's kind of a 2-day process with making this soup because I like to cook it a long time, the broth. All right, so if you started early in the morning, you cook the chicken for 1 hour from 8 in the morning to 9, right? Then you got 9 till 6 in the night to do that, and then you can do it in one night. But otherwise, I just do it whenever I have time, and then I make it for the next day, and I'll have that. So we're gonna let this simmer for minimum. I like minimum, probably I would say minimum 4 hours to really get the flavor of the chicken in the broth. again, as it's reducing down, you want to add a little bit of water because we don't want to lose all the water in there. We don't want to reduce it all down. So we'll do that, and I'll show you what this looks like after like 4 to 5 hours. See you back soon. Okay, guys, we're back after about 3 hours here. So let's take a look at this broth. You can see, right? Beautiful. It's getting golden. It's got the fat from the chicken in there. It's perfect, right where we want it to be. So I want to strain this right now. So let's do that. Okay, I've got my broth here, and I'm just going to take it over. You can see I have a little strainer here. And I'm just going to go ahead and strain this. This is the simplest way to do it. If you take the big pot and you try to do that, you're going to end up getting a bunch of chicken everywhere and all that. So just be patient and strain it like this. And you're going to get all the little bits out. And then we'll be able to finish this dish, okay? So we'll see you back in a second. All right, you guys, we're back. And we've got over here, you can see I've strained that chicken stock. Look how beautiful and golden that is. You can see it's got fat on the outside. Now, if I wanted to, I could clean the fat off of this, but you know, it's probably only got like a little bit of chicken fat, a little, you know, so I want to keep that in there for flavor. A lot of times if you were making matzo ball soup, you would do it the same way like this, skim that fat off, take that fat, mix it with the matzah and egg to make your matzo balls. But that extra little bit of fat in there, I love that, and I'm leaving it in this. But if you want it super fat free, you can skim that off and you're going to be fat free on that. But I got to have a little fat in my life, right? It's got to be a little bad once in a while, right? When I'm good all the time. Well, maybe not all the time, but sometimes. But here, you guys, I have beautiful orzo. So this really nice quality orzo. I have just look for a good quality orzo. Now, this orzo, I'm just going to drop that in, put a little in my hand so you guys can see what it looks like. So that's the orzo. So you can see it's like a beautiful small shaped pasta like that. It's going to cook in about probably 8 minutes. So I'm going to probably want to cook it. I'm going to keep an eye on the time. All right, I'm going to cook it for 7 minutes, because what happens with this, you guys, is once I turn it off, I leave it sit in here. So this orzo, we're not going to take it out and strain it. So really, actually 6 minutes, it's going to be fine. So what's going to also happen is some of the starch off of this is going to help to kind of give some body to the soup. I don't really care about having too much body. So you know what? I left my knife. I'll be right back. I'm back with my knife, okay? So what I'm going to do is I've got my chicken here. You guys can see this chicken that I have. That's the chicken that we cut off. And then we're just, basically you're looking to not do anything fancy. You're just looking to make this into, look at that, how well that's cooked. Can you guys see that? I don't know if you can see that. See how it still has a little bit of beautiful, it has like a softness to it. It's not overly cooked and dry. You're not seeing these dry, you know, kind of cavities on there, that like these grains from like you just overcooking the heck out of it. Now, you don't really ever overcook the thigh piece that much, because it has a lot more fat in it. But the breast is where you have to be careful. And I'm telling you, simmering a chicken, a 3 to 4 pound, about a 3.5 to 4.5 pound chicken for 1 hour, taking it out, letting it cool, is like, it's almost perfect every time. I mean, literally never have an issue. Okay? So, especially when you let it cool, because you're letting it finish cooking. If you ate it right when you pulled it out, yes, it's a little pink around the bone structure, which is normal, and that's how you want to really, that's how you want to take it out, because you want it to be a little pink. So don't look at it when it comes out of the water and say to yourself, ooh, this is a little pink, let me cook it till it's white. No, it's carrying over. Plus, putting in this soup, you're going to simmer it. We can cook it even longer in the soup. So we don't want it to be overcooked. If this is overcooked right now, when you put it in the soup and it sits in there for a while, then it's going to be well done. So, I mean, in a soup, you're going to get a little bit of leeway, because because it's in a moist environment, right? So you're in this beautiful soup that's going to keep everything kind of nice and moist. So with this, I'm going to take all my chicken, put it back in there. Don't throw that jelly. You see there was some jelly. I just threw this chicken on top so you can't see it now, but some jelly in the bottom of that from the gelatin in the chicken. The juice from that, once it gets cold, it becomes gelatinous. That's that beautiful gelatin in the chicken. You want to keep that. So I'm not putting it in there right now. I'm going to wait. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some lemon in it. So I'll put some lemon in here with my chicken, and I'm going to squeeze 1 lemon into this. So we've got about a 1 gallon soup. This soup makes 1 gallon. Okay, and make sure I have all the seeds out. Just use my fingers. Just wash your hands before you cook for your family. Unless they're being mean and not doing their chores around the house, then you can get dirt on your fingers and cook for them. Why not? That's what I do. Just kidding. But I want to just strain this really good like this. And I'm putting now I can just put the lemon in there, that's fine. But I'm just putting it here because that way it's there. I don't have to worry about thinking about it again. Okay, now I've got beautiful dill from my garden and a little bit of tarragon, mainly dill. But you could put dill, you could put tarragon, you could just put parsley if that's what you want to put. And with this, I'm just picking the heavy stems off like this. So I mean literally just cut this out of my garden. And I'll pull this off like this. Okay. And then I'm gonna take these beautiful leaves off like this. Now this piece doesn't look that great, right? It looks a little bit brown, so I'm gonna leave that to the side. I don't like that. So now I just want to do a simple chop. And then I'm going to take this and put this in my chicken too. Why am I throwing all this in my chicken, not in the pot? Because all of these flavors, this chicken, the dill, all of that is, it doesn't need to be cooked. I don't want to cook it. So what I want to do is cook this pasta and have the pasta be done. And when the pasta is done, then I can add all these things in there and just turn it off. That's what we're going to do. Now, we're at about 5 minutes. I'm going to check these. They're still pretty firm. My last step now is spinach. I've got myself a bowl of spinach here. Why am I cutting the spinach? Because we want everything to be the size of a spoon. So if I didn't cut the spinach, sometimes it'll lay against each other and you'll get like this big strand. And so when you try to eat it on a spoon, it's not as easy to eat. Is it imperative that you cut it? No. If you don't feel like cutting, you're not worried about eating it off of a spoon and getting a little soup on your shirt or whatever, then leave it whole. Fine, I don't care. It's not going to make a difference in flavor. It's just an executional eating thing. So with this, I just take it, if you do want to cut it, and just lay it down, and we're just going to push it, and I cut little julienne chunks, right? This has already been washed, this spinach, I mean, so we're done on washing that, okay? And then I put it all here. Let me get it all out of this bowl. Those are such tiny pieces. If it's really baby like this, it's really, you might not have to cut it. But if it's big pieces, I would definitely cut it. But these little baby ones, they stay pretty small anyway. So with this, I've got chicken, the beautiful chicken that was poached in there that we made this stock from, right? And you saw that was only 3.5 hours, right? So it's not that long. You don't have to cook it overnight, right? You don't have to cook it for so long to get that beautiful golden flavor. I really didn't, I added like 1 cup of water to that earlier in the day before I left the house because I was leaving the house and it was simmering down. I didn't want, to be an issue with not being enough water. Worst come to worst when you're making a stock and you put too much water in it because maybe you're leaving and you're not sure how fast it's reducing, so you get a little scared, put plenty of water in it. When you come back, if it hasn't reduced enough, you just keep letting it go. You can't cook the stock for too long. You could literally cook a chicken stock like that for 3 days. And you're only going to get better flavor. So, soup's tasting great. Let me taste this noodle now. Still a little al dente, which is perfect. Tasting the broth, I put I think it was like 2 tablespoons in there or 2 teaspoons of salt, and that was enough. It doesn't need more salt. So that's one of the important things too. You want to put salt in the beginning because you want to extract these flavors out, but you don't want to kill something like this and then you can't fix it, right? Because you've reduced it down, it's got beautiful chicken flavor, but now it's got too much salt. So if it was too salty and you had to dilute it, you're going to lose the chicken flavor. So you really can ruin the soup. So you're better off seasoning it nicely, but then give yourself room to season later. And I thought I did, and I think it's perfect right where it is. So right now, we're at 8 minutes. It's cooked. That's al dente. So to me, that's perfect. Because I'm going to cook it 1 more minute. I don't like to leave this bite in it that it's going to disappear, that bite anyway, because what's going to happen with this soup is, yes, you might eat it right now, you might have some, but you're inevitably going to have a quart left over you're going to put in the fridge. So you just want to have this soup last in your house. And something you could even double. You could put 2 chickens and you double the size if you have a big pot. That way you'll have it. You can even freeze it. It'd be really nice. So let me get, what am I missing here? I've got my ladle there that I was straining with. Now, what I'm going to do while I'm waiting is put my spinach in. Okay. That's going to be beautiful. What's going to add this really nice earthy flavor to this? Most of you love chicken and spinach soup like this, but chicken, spinach, orzo, dill. Oh gosh, this is going to be gorgeous, and lemon. So here we go. Look at that. Now, like I said, this chicken's cooked, right? It's going to take a minute or 2 to warm it. So if you're eating some right now, which I am, I'm going to let it warm a little bit longer. Want it to come back up to a little simmer. But at this point, I've got my spinach is cooked in there. I've got my beautiful orzo. Nice texture on that. Beautiful, like, pasta flavor. Let me taste for the... Wow. That's fantastic. So, I'll show you guys what this looks like when we plate this up. Okay, so I've got this beautiful bowl right here. Look at that. That's gorgeous, or what? Oh, man. So the only thing that I would say you could add to this, right, would be a little pecorino romano if you wanted to. Some cheese on that. Or if you want to look at this as a Greek orzo, spinach, and lemon chicken soup, you could actually put you could put a little crumble of goat cheese in there before you serve it. It'd be really nice too. Or feta. But feta would be the predominantly nice one. It's going to add a little saltiness to it if you like that. But I think sometimes a dry cheese with this is the best. So I like to put pecorino romano. It's salty, right? It's dry. It's really nice, but it really doesn't need anything. You could just eat it just like this. And that's how I'm going to eat it. Let's try it now. Wow. It's perfect. Great textures, great flavor. Chicken's tender. The herbs, just enough to perfume it, not overwhelming. And dill and tarragon can be overwhelming, so you want to go light on those anyway. Let the spinach, that earthiness, speak to it, and you're going to love this. So try this at home. make sure you give me comments if you're having questions or you didn't understand something, if you have a question about something. That's what I want to do. I want to teach you guys how to cook. Okay? I want to teach you how to cook and not follow recipes. So come back in my kitchen and we'll do it together. I'm Chef D Max.